Good afternoon, Haiti Oropes. I'm back. I was on earlier interviewing a candidate in this race, and joining me is Louie Aguila. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Good, good. So, Attorney Aguila, he's going to be running in a race in Hillsborough County, a circuit court um, seat race. And so he's going to be talking to us about it.
Thank you. Yes. As Haley said, my name's Louie Aguila. I am running for judge in Hillsborough County, specifically Group 7. As we sit here today, it's July 21st. I know some mail ballots have been starting to get received. Early voting starts August 3rd through the 16th, and the general election day is August 18th. So please check around, check on the Hillsborough County voters website to see where your closest precinct to your house or your job is. But a little bit about me. I'm born and raised in Tampa, in Hillsborough County. I'm a true Tampanian. I'm half Cuban and half Italian. My father is the Cuban side, where the name comes from, Aguila. He was born in Cuba, actually, along with my uncle and with my abuela and my abuelo, my grandparents. And they immigrated from Cuba to the state of New York for approximately 2 years, and this is in the early 60s. And then they came down here to Tampa, where they've been ever since. My dad ended up doing 34 years with Hillsborough County Fire Department. He has retired now, so I was born into public service, if you will. My mom is the Italian part of me, she was born and raised in Tampa, and together with my father's family, we were in the restaurant business for many years. Some of you may recognize the name La Ideal, LA space IDEAL. It's a Cuban sandwich shop that was located on Tampa Bay Boulevard. And alongside, we had two other locations eventually, one in Carrollwood and one off of Lois and Hillsborough. My grandfather retired for a very short, brief moment. And then we had Aguila Sandwich Shop on Hillsborough Avenue. So a lot of people before my lawyer days know me from there, because when I would come back from college, I would help out and kind of work the tables and interact with the customers. I have a lovely family with my wonderful wife and my two daughters. I have an 8 and a 5-year-old, and they go to a Catholic school here in Hillsborough County. I was born and raised Catholic as well. I attended St. Lawrence Catholic School on Hillsborough and Himes, and eventually Tampa Catholic High School. So Hillsborough County, Tampa Bay is what I love, and I wouldn't live anywhere else. So thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So my parents came from Cuba.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
was, I was born in New Jersey. At 5, they relocated, took me along to Miami, and I was grew up in Hialeah. So salami or no salami in the Cuban sandwich?
So I got to stay true to my grandfather. Cien salami, no salami. He was a big believer in the Cubans. Our Cuban sandwich had the jamon, the ham, the puerco, the pork, the queso suizo, the cheese. And here's the most important part for my grandfather: only mustard. And you can put pickle, but only mustard. No lettuce, no tomato, and no mayonnaise. But of course, the Americanized way, which we sold a lot of, included those other toppings.
You know what though? So there's always that debate, and I came from Miami, and I never thought that I'd. You know what I did? I've never put salami, but the other day I included some pepperoni. So
Oh, there you go.
you can get creative culinary wise. You can get creative.
Of course, and
Um,
the medianoche sandwich, which is very similar to the Cuban sandwich, that has salami in it, but it's on a different type of bread, which is like a sweet egg roll bread, which is also very popular.
that is true. That is true. Okay, so great. So how long have you? Did your parents come from Cuba directly, or how they?
My uncle, and my grandparents, my abuelo, my abuela, they went from Cuba to New York. This is like right as or before the Castro administration took over.
Oh,
I don't
gotcha.
know why they chose New York, because I have cousins that went directly from Cuba to Miami. But eventually, after only a couple years, and my dad was a baby at this point, he was probably 1 or 2
Right,
years
right,
old.
right.
They came down to Tampa, and so they've been here ever since. So my dad
You-
is mid 60s. He did 34 years with Hillsborough Fire Department. So he's lived
Oh,
here longer than anywhere else.
so yeah, you know what? There's a huge community probably at the time that my parents arrived, which was they came right after Castro took power.
Okay.
So there was a large community, Cuban community, maybe still is in New Jersey, and I suppose New York. That's probably
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
your abuelo went to.
Mhm.
Okay, so how long have you been practicing law?
So I've been, from a professional side, I've been doing it now 12 and a half years. I'm a career prosecutor. I've been in public service my whole career. And I started with the state attorney's office and I did 8 years there. I actually worked under three different state attorneys. I started under Mark Ober, then Andrew Warren, and then current state attorney, Susie Lopez. My time there, I started from the bottom and worked my way up, just as I've done anything else in life. And the way I was taught is you earn everything that you get. And I eventually, once I became a more seasoned attorney, I really had focused on violence on individuals. So I did exclusively sex crimes for the Special Victims Unit. So that includes sex crimes on children and sex crimes on adults, exclusively for 2 years. I have done homicide cases. I've done gang-related cases, a lot of violent cases. There came a point about 4.5 years ago where I was presented with an opportunity to go to statewide prosecution. So I am still a prosecutor. It's just with a different office. And the only difference is my previous job, I only handled cases within Hillsborough County. My current job, I handle cases in Hillsborough County and outside Hillsborough County. So I have cases in Polk County, Pasco County, Manatee County, so our surrounding counties. I currently am a member of our cold case unit. We have Attorney General Ashley Moody when she was the Attorney General. Now she's a senator for the state of Florida. She started a cold case unit. I was humbled and honored to be put in that unit once I started at statewide prosecution. So we have people throughout the state. We meet with local agencies and departments and go over cases that are unsolved. It doesn't have to be a classified homicide, so to speak. It could be just a missing person case. And we really comb through it and we see if there's any any pieces of evidence that can be tested for any like new scientific DNA. I know that's what we all think about because we all watch these crime shows nowadays and documentaries. Sometimes though, and that's great. And that is, if we can get that is obviously going to help move the case forward. However, sometimes it's a fresh perspective, a re-interviewing of witnesses that can really change some things. So myself, along with my colleagues, that we're prosecuting a handful throughout our area. So again, I've been doing it 12 and a half years. I'm a career public servant. I love our county. I love the people in our county. I've always had a passion for trying to help people. And the reason I'm running for judge is because in our legal field, being a public servant, I see a judge as the pinnacle of that public service. And there's opportunities, Haley, as you know, with judges retiring, and I believe that I could make a positive impact for our community. I've always strived in following the law as a prosecutor and applying the facts to the law. And I also have always listened to the other side, considered it. Sometimes I agreed with it, sometimes I don't. But I think those qualities are important because that's exactly what I think we all ask a judge to do. There's two sides of the aisle. So eventually when a decision is made, whether it's in law or in life, the side that's not getting the opinion or the ruling that they want, of course, is going to be disappointed. But I like to believe that side can always respect a decision that's made if they feel like they were listened to and they were considered. And I've always done that, and I will do that if elected as their next circuit court judge.
Okay, so just like based on what you just said, neutrality, and I said this in the prior podcast earlier today, that sometimes attorneys, when they start trying to vet or find out about a judge that they're unfamiliar with, that they're going to appear before they try to get a sense by talking to other colleagues, like, where does this judge lean this way or that way? And that's the reality that happens. Should it? No. We should expect that conversation shouldn't even take place. You've been a prosecutor your whole career. So, but what you just said, a judge should be committed to the law.
Sure.
Not any particular, but that happens. Could you speak to that?
Yeah. So it's crucial. So I'm not suggesting, please, in any way that judges' jobs are easy, but at their core, the judges' jobs are to call balls and strikes, right? And to do it fairly. And when you call balls and strikes, you're listening to both sides. You're reading the law. You're applying the facts and the arguments before you to that law. Your personal emotion or any other things shouldn't matter. What matters are the things that I just described. So now, of course, when you get to a certain point, of a case. We'll stay on criminal since that's what we're talking about at the moment. Of course, there are situations where judge has discretion, and all judges are human, and some, utilize the discretion differently. But up until that point, when you're talking about following the law and applying the facts to the law, that's the judge's job at its core. And I like to believe, and I hope this is true, and I've really tried in 12 and a half years to, like I mentioned earlier, the other side, the attorneys, I will always listen to what you say. I will always consider it, and I will always call you myself and say, hey, I read this, I looked at this that you gave me, and this is why I agree, or this is why I partly agree, or this is why I disagree. Because I think that's just the right way to practice, and I think that's exactly what a judge should do.
Okay, so in addition to that, which is very important, the neutrality aspect of what is part of what makes a judge a good judge, even doing something that they might not personally want to do, but they're committed to the law and to the fairness. And if it goes the way that they would rather not personally have it go, but they're committed to the law and following it. What other attributes are good?
So for a judge,
yeah,
treating people with respect. Don't get me wrong, everyone has a bad day, okay?
That is true. That is true. And you got to throw grace sometimes, because I'm human, and sometimes I'm like, oh, but you know what? I throw grace because I say judges are human.
Of course. Listen, judges are human. They are appointed or elected officials, and they have a lot of power that comes to that. But at the end of the day, they're all human. I'm just like anyone else that's watching this. I'm a normal guy. And the reason I bring up respect is because, throughout my career, you've seen judges, and I'm not just talking about Hillsborough County. I mentioned earlier, I go around to all different counties,
right?
And everyone has a bad day, but when it becomes a consistent attitude and demeanor on the bench, I think that's something that I would strive not to do, because at the end of the day, there's only a handful of people in the whole county, okay? And Hillsborough County's got 1.5 million people, and I don't know the latest number, but let's say it's about 71 or so judges. So there's only approximately 70 people within 1.5 million people that have your job. So if you elect me, I'm going to show up to work every single day. I'm going to follow the law, and I'm going to listen to everyone and treat people with respect, because I would be honored to serve you, because it's a small percentage of people that get a chance to do it.
Yeah, and then listen, when we're on the other side of getting that treatment, it's not nice. It's not fun. We have to think about the golden rule,
Yeah.
And again, you mentioned that is a privileged position. You're looked at on a higher level because of the power that you do. So people are scared when they go into court. That's very frightening. That has to also be taken into consideration. They're internally with anxiety and whatnot. I'll say a quick anecdote. I remember as a young attorney, a judge that since then I respect and have esteem for, lost it a little. And I was a young attorney, but you know what? They called me to the bench afterwards and they apologized. They said, I'm sorry. So, and I have had judges at times when they have that moment, but that it's not a pattern like you indicate. I still like the judge.
Right.
It's just that we all of us, because I lose my patience sometimes. We have to be mindful. That's in the canons, the judicial canons. Judges have to be patient.
Right.
Okay, so listening to that's important. Speak to that.
Yeah, listening is crucial. I think in really any job that you have, if you only want to listen to one voice, which is your own, you need to really self-reflect a little bit, in my opinion. But listening as a judge is important, because naturally, when in the judicial process, one side and the other side tend to have differing opinions. And that's what you're there for. You're there to be the neutral moderator, if you will, the umpire that I mentioned earlier that calls balls and strikes. So in order to truly make a fair and just decision, aside from following the law, the next part is, well, what facts are applicable to this law. And that's where listening comes into play, because you have to listen to both sides. And then once you have both sides of the story, then you apply the law and figure out, okay, this is why I agree with you on this. This is why I disagree with you on this, and vice versa. And you can go through the analysis in your own head before making an official ruling. So as a judge, it's crucial that you listen, and you listen to both sides. You listen to people that aren't represented. So let's say people that are pro se, I would treat them the same way. People have the right to represent themselves, and if they so choose to do so, I will listen to them, and I will, while I can't give them legal advice, of course, I will definitely treat them just as if they were an attorney. And I would listen to them, and I would, again, apply the facts and the law to the current situation.
Right, because some people do walk away feeling as if, geez, this is just kind of like an assembly line, and there's more concern about getting this docket done, or lessening the case load. Which, listen, sometimes it's as an attorney, when there's certain divisions that at times I've been a little bit frustrated because it seems like they want to rush cases through. I think that there's a thing about, for attorneys to try to be on top of their cases to get them timely resolved, because you don't want to glom up the system. So there's like a little bit of a balance there. As to discretion that you mentioned, what do you think about empathy? I've heard people at times say, and it seems that way, and I'm not speaking as to the judiciary, every single judge. I've seen judges show empathy when they were like, oh, what should I do here? But they went on the side of empathy and compassion. Do you think that maybe the system can use more of that?
Sure.
Maybe
I mean, not all.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, not all cases are created equal, right? So I think as a judge, it's important to understand the current facts and situation that is before you, and to never have like a blanket standard thought process on how certain things should go. So when you're talking about empathy, in a hypothetical, if the judge has discretion under the law, they don't have to do something because the law says they have to do it. So they have discretion. That's what I mean by discretion. Yes, I think empathy can play a role. I mean, a classic example that I give when I say not all cases are created equal is like a young individual who's, starting their adulthood, let's call it 18, 19, 20 years old, and maybe didn't have a great upbringing, but doesn't really have a criminal record, but made a mistake, right? And the mistake may be a theft from Home Depot, from Walmart, you name it. That person is not going to be treated, as far as sentencing goes, once they plead guilty or are convicted at a trial, as somebody who rapes a child, because those are apples and oranges. So I think empathy certainly can play a role in with a judge when the judge has discretion under the law. But again, it's dependent on the facts before that current judge. And if you elect me, again, I will treat each individual case on its own merits and on its own facts and the law that applies to those facts, and listen to both sides.
Okay, well, we've been going on. It's coming on to 20 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and share your website. The ticker on the bottom of the screen has the address, louisforjudge.com. I'm going to go ahead and share that so you can talk about any content on there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So this is the website here, towards about probably the middle of the page there. A picture of me, a little bio about serving the community. I think above that there may be the social media handles from Facebook and Instagram there. I think they're a little bit lower, right there. Go down under the ticker, right there. Socials.
Oh, yeah, Facebook and Instagram.
Yep, Instagram. So Louie for Judge, LOUIE for Judge.com is this website that Haiti's showing. Louie for Judge is also the Facebook. Elect Louie for Judge is the Instagram. if you don't mind scrolling down a little bit, I'm very proud and humbled to have local endorsements and support of multiple agencies.
Oh, okay, sure,
Um,
yes.
right
Mm-hmm.
there. So I'll just list them out verbally, but it's a total of 8 different agencies. It's the Plant City firefighters, it's the Hillsborough firefighters, it's the Tampa firefighters, it's the Tampa Police Benevolent, excuse me, the Tampa Police Benevolent Association. It's a tongue twister. They go by PBA. The one that you're showing there is the Fraternal Order of Police. They have one from Hillsborough and one from Tampa. So it's the same logo, but 2 different letters. Then you have the Tampa Bay Area Chiefs of Police. So this actually encompasses, if you look to the left-hand column there, individuals from different law enforcement agencies throughout our Bay Area, not just Hillsborough County. Even though I'm only running in Hillsborough County, I was happy and humbled that they would still endorse me. So this is from the Tampa Bay Area Chiefs of Police Association. And then the last one, which we have not updated the website yet, is from STAR, STAR, which is Suncoast Tampa Area Realtors Association. They have formally endorsed me as well. So again, 8 different organizations / unions that are very prominent in our county and represented by thousands of people. I'm very humbled to have their support. So you can check all those out at louisforjudge.com. We're very active on social media as well. We try to document every place or interaction I have with the community. We have a wonderful county, as I mentioned earlier, 1.5 million people approximately. So it's a very, very large county. But I do my very best to continue to meet people and get out there.
Okay, so we're gonna close out in just a minute, but before I do, I'm gonna let you have whatever last words you'd like to leave with the voters.
Sure. Thank you. So, as we discussed today, I'm a career public servant. I understand what it takes to serve the people of Hillsborough County. I've lived in a courtroom, and while admittedly campaigning is a full-time job, I've never quit on my duties and responsibilities because I am still actively serving you as a prosecutor and being a public servant. I'm in court still all the time. I was in Manatee County last week on a case. I was in trial in the month of January of this past year, in the month of February. The reason I tell you all that is because being a judge isn't a stepping stone for me. Being a judge is what I want to do. And if given the chance to serve, I will show up and I will never quit on my duties and responsibilities. And I will always treat people with respect. Anyone that may have concern about me being only a career prosecutor, please do your research on me. I had someone actually tell me one time, "Oh, you're a prosecutor. Does that mean you just want everyone to go to prison?" No, I mentioned earlier, not all cases are created equally. I don't have the number, but I've handled thousands and thousands and thousands of cases over my career, and I have given people probation. I have dropped cases, and I've given people chances over and over. So it's a balancing act. Again, not all cases are created equal. I believe that I am fair on my daily job and my daily duties, and I will continue to do that. I believe I possess the qualities that you can't teach, which is organization, which is structure, which is leadership. And no matter if elected, no matter where I serve in Hillsborough County, I believe that I will do so with dignity and respect to all. So again, louisforjudge.com. Please reach out if you have any questions to the campaign. You can do so on that website or on the social media handles. I would love to meet you in person if we haven't met. But again, please do your research, get out and vote. August 18th is election day. August 3rd through the 16th is early voting. All judge candidates are nonpartisan, so you're not going to see a party affiliation next to our name. And unlike some of the other candidates on the ballot, such as governor, for example, this is win or go home for judge candidates. Okay, so like whoever comes out on top the night of August 18th, we don't go to the November ballot. Win or go home. So please get out and vote. Haley, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to connect to your viewers. So thank you.
Thank you. And like right before I say goodbye, I wanted to, if it came off at all, like I believe that somebody that's just done prosecutorial like work.
No,
but because, and then I just did want to add this, that I've been practicing for 26 years, and I can say this, that there have been persons who have run who only did public defender work, where people in the criminal defense bar or just the bar that were prior prosecutors, they had a perspective, whether true or not, that that person that used to be a public defender is harsher than some former prosecutors on the bench.
Right.
That's not an indicator at all. Anyways, thank you again. Haley Oropesa with Florida Judge. Till next time.